World Peace, Episode 4, Mirror World. We are talking with Chris and Calvin about building something out of nothing. Chris and Calvin, they are partners, brothers, and founders of the RWT Collective out in LA, a trading card store which is also expanding. They have tons of innovative, advanced ideas and how they're really coming up in the game out there. But we're not talking about RWT right now. We are talking about more than 10 years ago, a project that they embarked on in the virtual, namely RuneScape. Maybe a lot of people have heard of RuneScape, the game, but they have no idea what actually went on in that. Personally, I did not until I came into contact with Chris doing what they were doing. And it's always stuck in my mind, and I had to tell this story. I had to record it for posterity because it's rare that you meet someone in person. These are whispers, these are rumors on the internet, but if you've never met someone in real life who did it, it's kind of quite unbelievable. I hope you enjoy this episode. Follow RWT Collective. I'm really grateful that they gave me their time doing this. Follow Mirror World on all the socials. We have our Instagrams, Odyssey, YouTube. It's all linked. So give us some support. I do this for the love, and I hope to see you guys in the future. Thank you so much. Peace.
Thanks for fucking talking with me. Yeah, dude. So Mirror World is my project. It's about just weird shit, basically. And obviously, there's nothing weirder than living with you. For the first year I got out of college, we were in Queens. And you were so kind, you were like, yo, I was a newly graduated, jobless young person. And I was like, I have no idea what to do. You're like, dude, just come crash with me. This is how I remember it. I would love for you to correct me if you remember it differently. The conversation kind of went like, I don't know what I'm gonna do after college, and you saying, oh, come stay with me in the basement and you can figure it out.
Yeah.
And I did.
Sure.
And I think that was one of the more formidable experiences in my life. Because number one, everything was simpler. We were younger.
Yeah.
Less stress. But I've always wanted to tell this story because I've told so many people and it's hard for them to believe it when I tell them like what happened. So do you kind of remember what I'm talking about, that period in your life when I came back home one day and I was reading Snow Crash. I was like, I finished it that day and I was like, that's cute. Snow Crash is a funny book, but it has no application to reality. And then I came back and then you were like, on your earphones, you're like, yo, go, spam. I was like, what are you doing? He's like, dude, I can't talk right now. I'm in I don't know what it was, like a
clan war.
A clan war. Yeah, exactly. So can you kind of just kind of go over with, basically you guys built a casino.
Do you want to like give some context on what like Snow Crash was, or like a brief? Yeah,
so it was
like, how does it relate?
So it's a cyberpunk novel. It's really fun. 1986 maybe it was published. I might have that wrong, but it's about this was pre-internet, and so it's virtual space with like real estate inside of like this infinite grid, and then you can, as users, claim space in this virtual world, and then like there is consequences to your actions. This is like a very small part of the book, but like one of the things is stuff happens in the internet, but it affects like the IRL, right?
Yeah. I could see how that's a surreal experience, just because like I was literally doing that on RuneScape with my brother. Who will come? Yeah, who will be part of this?
Yeah. Could you explain a little bit, basically, like RuneScape? We all know what RuneScape is, but when you explained to me you were playing RuneScape, I was like, why are you playing this game? This is so dumb.
I asked myself that question because it was a pixelated game. I wasn't really into that style of RPG at the time, but within RuneScape, they created a seed called Mithril seed. But when you plant that seed, a different color flower comes up, and then people were betting on what colors come out. And and I think they made RuneScape very interesting because of the way you trade, right? So when you trade with people, you put the stuff you want to trade with them, and then they put whatever other stuff they want to trade with you, and then you close the trade, and that's it. There's no contracts. There's no nothing.
Do they actually drop it on the ground?
No.
Okay, so you
trade.
You're like two characters, and then there's a menu that pops up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you trade for whatever. Yeah. So how you bet is actually based on trust. Like you have to trust the other person that if you win, they will double your money.
I remember you telling me this.
So
reputation.
So obviously,
okay, can you explain a little bit before you explain the trust part?
Sure.
Let's just say we're back 10 years ago. How long ago? Is it 15 years ago? Jesus Christ.
A long time ago.
I had a lot more
this was
white
a while
hairs.
Back.
Yeah, so let's just say I'm a little kid. I have my 1,000 gold that I've been grinding, and I want to double it because my friend was like, hey man, you don't have to do 10 hours in that dungeon. You can go here. You can go meet these people. Like, put it on hot. Whatever. I don't know what the flower names were called, right?
Yes.
But like, so I walk all the way to the map. I have to physically go there, right? I can't actually just teleport. I have to like use my...
So everybody's just in the main like lobby area.
Okay.
And there's a lot of like people selling stuff, people doing stuff. It's like the hometown area.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of clans there that host these games. The most common game is hot and cold, like you said, hot. So hot is all the hot colors, cold is all the cold colors. If it's rainbow, the house wins.
Yeah.
So whoever you're playing with keeps the money.
Okay. So I'm a little kid, I come, and then I'm like, oh, I want to put 1,000 on hot.
So you trade me 1,000?
So I have to give you it in the menu. I'm not dropping on the ground. I give you in the menu.
Yeah.
So you hold all the cards, basically.
I hold, yes.
So I have to trust that you give it to me.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's just say I get hot.
Yeah.
Red or whatever.
And then if you play 1,000 on hot, and then I plant the seed, it's a hot color, so red, orange, yellow. Then I give you 2,000 back.
2,000, yeah. And what is the house advantage? So there's three colors in a rainbow?
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's 1 out of 7.
7.
That's pretty high, right?
But the percentages also vary. So like people planted like 10,000, 100,000 of these seeds to get a sample size big enough to know the percentages. I just used based off of their numbers. So I just looked online.
So was it equally?
It was not.
Oh, okay. What was the distribution?
I forgot, honestly, but it was roughly in that range. So each one is 1 out of 7, give or take. Maybe some are more easier than others.
Yeah.
I think hot was easier than cold.
Yeah.
There's also black flower and white flower. So there was also games that came out of that as well.
Oh shit.
But those flowers are very those are like 1% flowers.
Oh sure.
So out of like 100, 200 seeds, you might find 1 or 2.
Oh wow. Okay. So were there other games other than hot and cold? Okay.
So hot and cold was the first game, and then flower poker.
Oh, yeah.
So flower poker, you basically plant. So the host and the customer both plant 5 seeds. And then if you get a pair, so if you get 2 reds or 3 reds, that's your poker hand. So like 2 pair or 3 of a kind, or 2 pair or full house, right? Or 4 of a kind or 5 of a kind.
Yeah.
So those are the possibilities, and you basically rank each other accordingly. Now the house edge for that game is if you get 2 times tie, then the house wins.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're kind of describing this game mechanism, which is which is made possible through the basically random number generator of the flower, this item in the game.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit about why you guys had to form a clan, and also the role that trust plays, like branding?
Yeah, so that's the hard part because think about it. If you're a kid and you're like, oh, people are doing hot and cold, and then there's scammers on there, you're gonna be like, okay, let me host, and then someone bets on you, and then they win. What are you gonna do? You're gonna shut off your computer or run away, right? So most people just end up scamming the opponent. Yeah. So there's a lot of. So you have to build that trust. Like, who am I, right? Like,
You're anonymous.
I'm anonymous, yes.
Yeah.
So how we formulated trust was me and my brother. Okay, so this is also an interesting dynamic. So I was living in the States. My brother was living in Taiwan. So we made sure we were in the same spot 24/7 because I could cover the waking hours of the U.S.
You're saying in the same spot in this virtual world, in this server.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So for those who don't understand, there were servers in RuneScape, and they were different. They were all separated, like server 1, server 2.
Sure, they are. Yeah. But we were in the same spot in the same server, 24/7.
Okay.
So that's already a built trust there, because if we scam people, they will be there saying, oh, they scammed us, right? But since we never scam, that never happens.
Yeah.
And then we're always here. So if they want to find us, they can always come here to find us.
Right.
So it's almost like a shop. Like, we're there 24/7 every single day.
Yeah.
So whenever you want to come play, join us, talk to us, we're always there.
Yeah.
So that's the first point of trust. And then the second is obviously never scamming, because there's no reason to scam, because the edges, like the percentages are in my favor. So I don't need to scam, right?
What's in your interest is to have people play as long as possible.
Yeah, as much as possible. Yeah. And you grow to a point when like the community trusts you. They're gonna bet more. They're gonna bet more frequently. They're gonna spend more.
Yeah.
Right. So that's really how you make it. You don't make anything if you're scamming people for 1,000 gold.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because people were betting like millions.
How much was 1,000 gold in
nothing?
Real money. Yeah. It was like fractions of a penny.
Fractions of a penny. Yeah.
Right.
It's only like millions, like the party hats or whatever.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to the math. So right now we're still also kind of fleshing out everything within the virtual world, but it's when you start crossing over into the real world that was fascinating. Right? So there's a bottle. Sorry.
Off the bat, we had already crossovers in the real world, because so my brother handled all of the transactions.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, we had to purchase enough gold for us to host.
So for your reserves.
Yes, exactly. Because if you always pay out, that means if you go on a bad run, you could go bankrupt. So we had to make sure that we could only host a certain percentage of our
bankroll.
Yeah. If we allow someone to bet too high over the bankroll, and we could potentially go bankrupt, then we can't pay out.
Right.
So that's also very important.
Yeah.
So when we started with 1,500, and then we only took in bets that were less than $50.
It's $1,500 US dollars. $1,500 US dollars.
Yes.
And whatever equivalent of gold that was.
Yes.
And I'm sure that how should I say, that supply from $1,500 US dollars into RuneScape gold was also like a skill set that you had to learn, right? Because you have to go search for it, like on eBay or something.
That was all my brother.
Yeah.
I was focused on the in-game processes.
Yeah.
The games. I created new games.
Yeah. Innovation.
Yes.
Yeah. Keep it fresh.
And I was in charge of the team speak. We had a nice team. We had a nice community that we built. Actually.
So at first it was just you and your bro. So when people come to bet with you, that's like a bottleneck, right? Because you have to do one-on-one. Could you like It's not like now when there's online poker. It's just like you think you're just gambling with one person on the screen, but actually there's like maybe 100,000 people all on the same table looking at like these cards, right? Like for this was kind of analog in a way. This is why I find it so interesting. It's like projecting the real world into a virtual world, but still having certain limitations of the real world. Because it's not like when you're gambling with one person or you're facilitating a game, you can't just turn around and do like 100 other people. Like, you still have to keep track of like what's in front of you. Right. And that's why you had to scale and I guess have team members. Right. Yeah. Can you describe a little bit about like what that was like? It's blowing my mind.
So the hard part is when you're scaling and you're finding new hosts for your clan, you need to make sure that they don't scam.
Oh, yeah.
So how we do that is we make them pay a certain amount for their ranking, and whatever their ranking is, they can only host a maximum bet of, say, half or a quarter of what they deposited to us. So if they scam, then their ranking is revoked. Then they do not get to host anymore, and then they lose out on, this opportunity.
So you guys are the backstop, because when a client comes to your corner of the server, your territory, they'll be like, well, you're busy, Chris is busy, I trust Chris, but oh, look at this guy, he has the badge of the clan. Okay, and I know this badge means he can facilitate games of this quantity. And so I'm gonna go. Because at the end, you guys are basically vouching for him.
We are vouching. And if someone tells me that, oh, one of your guys has scammed me for this much, then I will resolve it. And then quickly get you paid out. They deposited an amount that I'm able to pay out whatever you were scammed for.
And they forfeit that basically.
But nobody's gonna do that because why would you pay 100 mil to scam 50 mil and then get your 100 mil badge revoked?
Right. Yeah, so crypto now, like these are questions that we have, right? How do you create systems of trust when there's no one backstopping? It's just code, right? Or it's just like an oracle. It's like a program. Like, can we trust that? Who wrote that? Right? But at the end of the day, I think what your experience tells me is at the end of the day, it's always another person that is at the end of the backstop. There's always a person that you have to trust, right? Because someone wrote the code, someone wrote the bots, right? And who's accountable when something goes wrong? You always need someone to put their reputation on the line. Okay, so now, how long was that?
Actually, there is also another thing. Another way we built trust was doing drop parties. So this was learned, my brother knew how to do that because he was part of another clan before we started it together. And that's what they did. They did drop parties. So what a drop party is you buy very expensive and useful
items.
And you just drop it on the ground for free. You drop it on the ground for free and say you drop let's say you drop 50 mil, right? You're not gonna scam people for 5 mil.
So they can just come pick it up?
They can just come pick it up. It's free. It's like a giveaway.
God damn.
And also not only that, it floods your chat. So if they see 100 people in your chat, they're like, oh, these guys might be legit. Oh, they're dropping 3 mil items, 5 mil items. Okay, why would they scam me if I'm betting, 500K, 1 mil?
Can you explain a little bit, how much was, for say, 3 mil in terms of, how much is that worth?
I already forgot the scale, to be honest. But
it's a lot.
I do know that we were betting party hats, and party hats ranged from $300 a party hat to up to $1,200 for a party hat. So and party hats are just pixelated hats in the game that you can wear. It doesn't give you any stats or bonuses at all.
It's just a signal
display.
that I got. It's like a peacock feather.
It's a very it's a very rare item in the game, obviously.
Yeah.
And that's why it's valued at what it was valued.
Dude, so again, with crypto, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's fascinating. In crypto, when you have a coin, like they do what is known as airdrops. So it's like, oh, I have this new coin. But no one uses it. You know what? I'm gonna go look. I'm gonna just give everyone who owns Bitcoin a free coin.
Sure.
Just give it to them.
Yeah.
And then that's how you kind of get notoriety or marketing,
Sure.
right? And then you can also kind of bootstrap the value. Yeah, it's called airdrops in it, right?
Yeah.
And also it just reminds me of like NFTs of like, obviously
NFTs had a lot of airdrops.
Absolutely. Yeah. But also like with the party hat, it's like it's useless and it was expensive, and it's just very similar to like another digital good.
Yeah.
With like, Bored Ape Yacht Club or all of these JPEGs, right? How many people were in your clan at the time?
I forget. It kept growing. I think on the team we had at least like, I'd say like 15, 20 people.
God, yeah.
And it was a nice team. Everybody was friendly, and people came in and out of it, obviously.
Yeah.
And we were, honestly, I think we stuck to our word like till the end.
Yeah.
Like at the end of this whole, period of time, the game actually took away the seed. And so the gambling ceased to exist. A lot of the other clans just took the money, because there's no reason to give people back money.
Right.
But for us, we actually gave everybody who gave us the deposit like half back. Because that was our original store policy, essentially.
Yeah.
Which is like, you put 100 mil deposit, you can host up to this amount of game, and we will give you back 50% whenever you cash out.
Oh, that's another mechanism so that they're invested in staying with you guys. Right? Like, instead of giving them everything back, it's like, look, this is a fee for using our brand name, using our legitimacy, and then it's worth half of whatever you gave us.
Sure.
Yeah. Holy shit. Okay.
But we honored that.
Yeah.
When they took away the seeds, it really didn't matter whether we honored it or not, because everybody disbanded.
Yeah.
The whole thing was over. But I still honored it just because I think the community that we grew, like, there was definitely feelings. There was definitely like a team bonding.
Yeah.
And like, it feels bad if you fuck people over.
Yeah, totally. Totally. You were a tribe.
Yeah. Exactly. And I know that one of the people in our clan actually was able to pay rent off of what he made through hosting with us.
Dude.
So it's like,
So I do want to get into like finances in a little bit, but just to kind of also flesh out this sequence of events, how long were you guys building this team before that I found out? Because like obviously when I came down those stairs and I finished Snow Crash that day and I was watching you play it, you had already been grinding in RuneScape for a while. I just didn't notice it. I just did not notice it. You were just like in your computer corner and I was like in and out. But then it just happened and I realized what was going on, right? Like how long did it take you guys to build that team?
It started very slow. We were pretty lucky because when we were like getting the money, deciding where to go, we met one guy who was, so in the game you can get these level ups by doing something. So this guy was doing prayer. Okay, he wants to get a level 100 prayer, and I think you get something special so you can look cooler in the game. Okay, and he was just bored, so he was just doing prayer every day. And then I was like, I'll give you some extra gold in game if you help us advertise. So then he'll bot for us. So he'll, as he's doing his prayer level ups, he's also doing in the chat like, hey, come bet in clan chat. Our clan was called Dust. So join chat Dust and come play.
Yeah.
Because we host.
Where was he? He was like praying in the lobby or something?
He just kept praying like, in the game. And then, so I think finding him was pretty lucky because he helped us advertise and keep us consistent in the same spot, the whole entire time.
He was with you guys the whole time?
He held it down in the beginning, yes. So like when I really had to sign off and Calvin really needed to go to school, he was there like still advertising.
Yeah.
And it was just the three of us,
Oh.
And then so after a week or two, we started building amount of clientele. We started, after all the drop parties, then we started to grow. So it took like at least 2 weeks to a month before we started before the ball started rolling. Yeah.
Okay, and then after a month, you guys got your first member to join?
Well, he was our first member.
Okay, so
because he was there the whole time.
Got you. So how long does it take to get your second member? After a month?
No, probably like 2 weeks, maybe a week even, because we would pay people to advertise for us.
Yeah.
Then they're already part of our economy.
Yeah.
Because we do hosting, we make money, and we split it into the people who help us advertise.
Yeah.
And then they're already like part of the team, sort of, right? Until and then I would obviously be like, hey, you want to host?
Yeah.
If you want to host, after you advertise for this amount of money and you save this amount of money, you can deposit it and then you can host this amount of.
Yeah.
So that's what I advised them to do, and then the team just slowly grew from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And can you describe a little bit about, you guys had a team, but there were other teams, right?
So there was more established teams. So this gambling has this gambling has been going on for like at least a year, maybe.
When they found out, someone found out.
Yeah. And the clans that started early, they were making bank. Like they were making a lot.
How much?
Like it's hard for me to gauge, but let me think. I would say probably some of the top hosts were pulling in maybe 20-30K a month.
Holy.
Maybe more.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe more.
Okay.
But I'm gauging like a decent top host.
And they were
20-30K.
Where were they from?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Like I don't know.
Yeah. Were they American though?
Everybody spoke English.
Yeah.
Because everybody spoke. Yeah. That's how you communicate.
On RuneScape.
Yeah.
Yeah. The clientele is probably mostly American, but these clans, you think some of them could have been from outside the country, like Chinese or Russian?
It could be anything.
Yeah.
And I think it's so interesting too. Like the whole thing is shaped kind of like a pyramid because you have the newbies who bet their entire so if you play this game for like 6 years, you maybe amassed like $1 million or less. So you would bet like 100K, 200K, 300K, and then you would dump all your savings to a small host, right? The host would rack these up, and then they want to gamble too. So they gamble with a bigger host, and then that money gets dumped into a bigger host, and then it just kind of snowballs. So like whoever's on top concentrates. Like they'll take the biggest gambles.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but everybody's just gambling. Like if you're a host, you want to gamble sometimes. I don't know why. You know the odds are against you, but people do it in the game.
Yeah.
But I've definitely also gotten into scenarios where, like, I was bored because people were it was slow that day. People were not really gambling. So I went to other hosts, and then I would gamble. But I would use the martingale strategy. So like I would bet $1 million. If I lose, I bet $2 million. If I lose, I bet $4 million. If I lose, I bet $8 million. And I would use that strategy to win one time, and I would bounce.
Yeah, they'd be so pissed, right?
They would be so pissed that they would come to me to do that same thing back.
Yeah.
And then it would just be kind of like this, like, you first, I first thing. But I got lucky in that, like, the other guy ended up losing up to like 8 or 16 mil, and he didn't want to continue. He's like, "Oh, bet on me now." And I'm like, "No, why would I?" Because You can keep going, but that's up to you.
Yo.
And so I ended up cleaning a few hosts that way, just by pricking them, like poking them.
Wow. Okay.
And then there was also other situations where I would bet with the host because he really wants a host, and we keep going back. I was like, okay, I'll bet on you if we change these rules. And then I just changed the rules just enough so that I have an edge as a person that bets. And I would just keep betting until I clean them because I have the edge.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of math.
Yeah.
And statistics.
Can you kind of describe that day when I came into the basement?
Yeah.
Like, what was happening at the time? Why were you so stressed?
So basically, we've already secured the spot. This is our spot.
Yeah.
There's another clan that decided to advertise for their spot, and they had their people in our spot, and that's not good because this is our spot.
Yeah. It's literally your territory.
It's my territory where we're hosting, and then they have someone there telling people to join them and go to gamble with them.
Yeah.
That's just bad for business, you know?
Yeah. It's disrespectful.
It's disrespectful. It takes away our business. It also confuses people.
Yeah.
Right? So our team got pissed off and
Wait, didn't they say you guys were scamming?
Yeah, they were just doing all sorts of things. They were like, "Oh, here, come bet with us." They're not good people, you know. Come bet on our side. So we went to their side, their area, and we started doing the same thing. But they were a bigger clan, so they actually had more to lose. So we were doing that, and then they were all the rest of their team got confused because it was several people that was advertising with us, but eventually they got in trouble because we were there, right?
Yeah.
We started doing all sorts of things. We put there's a lot of things in RuneScape that wasn't also interesting because you can trade with people and you could put something in the trade, and if they click it, then they teleport. So you can teleport people away using technical things.
God, yeah.
And so we would be there, teleport away their hosts, and we would spam, and we would put up giant cannons to block the vision. So when you block the vision, when people plant the seeds, they can't see the color of the flower.
Oh.
So then it's fucked. You're fucking up their whole
flow.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
and how did you learn all these techniques from other hosts, or you guys came
from
up?
Our team.
See, that's innovation.
No, well,
that's innovation.
I think people were doing this.
Oh, okay.
This happens every once in a while, back and forth.
Clan wars.
Yeah, clan wars.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
And people, you're right. People just get creative.
Yeah.
I didn't know because I was a newbie. I never played RuneScape before.
Yeah.
So I was the person that came up with all these things.
Yeah.
But our team did. Our team knew. And
Yeah.
They did.
Good team is everything.
Yes. And we had someone that was very smart. Was able to DDoS other things.
Yeah. I remember that. So that's another example of how the virtual spills into real life, right? Oh, you're gonna mess with us in the game. Well, I'm gonna fuck up your house.
Yeah.
Your
so
internet house.
This is even crazier. So we had this person called Parzo. Okay? I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
I actually,
shout out Parzo.
Yeah. Shout out to Parzo. I love this guy. I think he's cool. I wanted to stay connected. He did not.
Yeah.
But probably cause
for the best.
Yeah. But so someone tried to scam him in the game, and he was able to call their internet provider, shut down their internet, and then go on their TeamSpeak, pretended to be him, and said that this guy Parzo is taking all his credit card as hostage.
Yeah.
So please give me this amount of gold in game.
Yeah.
And his team members believed him and actually sent him a lot of gold.
Yeah.
And items.
That's amazing.
So he scammed his team members by pretending to be him.
That's even crazy. Yeah.
So
what a G.
Yo, he was great. He was a nice guy. always paid out. He never scammed anyone in the team.
Yeah.
He only messed with people that messed with him messed with our team.
Do you, I mean, looking back on that experience, I mean, do you miss it? It wasn't that long of a period,
It
right?
was like 3 months.
3 months. Yeah.
But it was definitely intense 3 months.
Yeah.
It was definitely very fun.
Yeah.
Made a lot of friends.
Yeah. Did you guys make a lot of money?
The first, like in the beginning, not so much.
Yeah.
But the last month we made like 3K each per person.
Oh my god! And if it just kept growing,
it kept growing. It would have been more for sure because it was growing exponentially.
Yeah.
Like for sure. Like the bet sizing that people were betting with us went from like $1 to $2 to like I think the biggest bet we took was like 1,000.
Holy shit! Yeah.
Like which was crazy.
Yeah,
like
that's amazing.
$1,000 bet.
Yeah. How long? How long would you?
1,500.
1,500.
Yeah, that was the biggest bet.
How long would you stay in the game at a time every day? You were online for like
the whole day. When I woke up, I was on.
Yeah.
Until I slept.
You're jacked in.
I had to stay up until my brother got off of school.
Yeah.
So that I can pass it over to him.
Yep.
And he would stay up until I woke up.
24 hours, bro.
24 hours.
Yeah.
And but to reiterate like how insane a $1,500 bet is, this is a pixelated game for kids, okay? And someone's betting $1,500 in like literally like 5 seconds.
Right.
Because you plant the seed, the flower comes up immediately.
Yeah.
So it's 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So someone literally gave us $1,500, planted a seed, and then either won it or gave it to us.
Right.
Like that's
and I think that speaks to how strong your reputation was getting, right? And I'm sure there's other clans that were, just taking bigger bets. But it's incredible to see like the growth and what it means to establish legitimacy online in this age where everyone's anonymous, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the story really that can't be needs to be told. Yeah, can you describe where we are now? Like after all this time, we're in LA. This was in Queens, New York. We're Culver City, Los Angeles. Like what's this we're sitting in?
This is a shop that me and my brother opened up.
Yeah.
And this is a TCG card shop.
Yeah.
We're called RWT Collective. RWT is Real World Trading.
Yeah.
What is it called? Acronym? The acronym is actually from RuneScape, and you're not supposed to do RWT. You're not supposed to real world trade.
That's in the rules.
Yes.
Of RuneScape.
Yeah.
God damn. That's fire, dude. I didn't know that. Okay. Okay, well, definitely a lot of real world trading going on here.
Yes.
I think you guys are ranked as the best trading card shop in LA right now, so I want to congratulate you guys on that. That's super sick. That's super sick, bro. Thank you for sharing the story. I think not enough people know about what it meant to grow up in the age of the internet when things were still so Wild West.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I feel very privileged to have witnessed that at that time.
I think you bring up some good to build a strong project in crypto space.
Yeah.
Some of the ways to establish reputation and loyalty.
Yeah. Yeah, I see it. I see it in the current projects. I wouldn't doubt that a lot of those team members probably grew up in RuneScape and knew about this shit, You and your brother are definitely like a power sibling couple. Super lucky to kind of be on the auxiliary, just like seeing that progress, I'm excited, man. I'm gonna get Calvin kind of tell his side of the story, and then I'll chop it up. And Calvin,
What's up?
thanks for coming on Mirror World, brother.
Yes.
Yeah, I was telling Chris, your bro. I grew up with Chris, right? This project is really about documenting what I think are inversions in our expectations about reality.
Right.
And living with your brother after I graduated was definitely a long period of that.
Yes,
right? You can say that. And that's when I met you.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know that you were going to school in Taiwan at the time.
Right.
So like, why don't we start there? Like, kind of give me a little bit about your growing up background, because I think it really plays into how you and your brother are able to, I think, be such a effective duo. You know, you guys have a lot of, in my mind, like complementary skill sets.
Right.
But like, how did you get to Taiwan? What was that like? You know?
I think our family went through a lot of ups and downs, definitely, growing up.
Yep.
As you know, like when you met Chris, you know our family situation, like we're doing pretty well off, and then at some point we kind of dropped off, where my dad actually gambled a lot of money on gold, and which is why Chris and I got the experience of being able to live through both ends of
feast and famine, basically. That was during the financial crisis, right? 2008, around that time.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, I think, you know, having met your father as well, I can kind of see where, I guess, a little bit of that genes come from, like this risk taking, this risk tolerance, which in this day and age it's a killer instinct. You know, it's a killer instinct. So okay, so you were in Taiwan at the time.
Yes, correct.
How did you find out about flower games, flower clans? Like, how this whole thing happen?
I think growing up, I've always been very big on gaming, and I played RuneScape all throughout my childhood.
Okay.
It was kind of like a get home from school and then get on RuneScape and play.
Was it big in Taiwan at the time?
I think at the time it was big across, like just on the internet,
Youth
lot of people.
culture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially in like with the 90s kids.
Got you.
Yeah.
What year were you born?
95.
95. Okay, so I'm 88.
Yeah.
I knew about RuneScape just from seeing it online. I never played it.
Yeah.
Right? My impression was like, why would I play this game? I have a Nintendo 64. I can go play Mario Kart. It looks so much better, you know? So I think that led into my sense of like, why is Chris playing this game?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what is going on, right? Okay. So you've always played RuneScape, and then what happened? Like, how did you find out, like, oh shit, like people are planting these seeds and losing money? You know?
I think they're very popular. So basically, back when old school RuneScape like relaunched, there was something called the Grand Exchange, where you basically go there and you can buy and sell items.
Okay.
To the market without actually meeting with people, because in the first forms of RuneScape, you actually had to type every time you want to buy and every time you want to sell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in person, and you need to go from world to world to reach more customers that might want to buy your item.
Yeah.
But with the update, actually this Grand Exchange allows people to kind of cross trade and buy items off each other.
And that made it possible for this type of flower clan thing? Like that mechanic?
I think the foundation is that you're able to buy seeds at a bigger volume without running to a specific vendor.
Got it.
Well, yeah.
Who was supplying the seeds? How do you get the seeds?
I think there was an NPC. I forget. It's been a long time. Yeah.
Okay.
But also, I think going back to Grand Exchange, this update actually brought a lot of people to this specific square.
Yeah. Okay. I see.
There's a lot of inflow and outflow of people who's buying and selling or going to the bank to bank their items.
Okay.
Meaning, if you were to take a specific area in Grand Exchange, a lot of people will see you. Kind of like how our retail store, we have to consider like there's restaurants around us, or if we have a comic store that's been open for 9 years across us.
Yeah.
You know,
location.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
Right? Okay. Can you kind of describe, like, I guess, the initial discussions you had with Chris about, like, this idea? Like, he mentioned you had already joined a clan, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, what was that like? You're like, I can do this.
Yeah.
You know, I can do this. But maybe I need a partner, or something like that. I'm not sure
I
what
think
your
I originally joined. So I started as someone who was bidding.
Okay.
And then from there, I met some of the guys in this specific clan, and I joined them for fun.
Yeah.
But my bankroll was small, so I got cleaned out really fast. So basically, when I got cleaned out, I told Chris what was happening, and he's like, he kind of like said, "Oh, that's really interesting." We didn't continue the conversation.
Yeah.
For like another night or two, give or take. He came back. He was like, "Yo, I was thinking about this. Like, what if I was to put down $3,000 and buy gold, and we can do it ourselves?"
Yeah.
And I was like, it could make sense. I mean, we could try.
Yeah. Were you in high school at the time? Or
Yeah.
You were in high school at the time.
Yeah.
Okay. So Chris was like a VC almost. You know what I'm saying?
He was a VC, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So he came to you. He's like, okay, I have a little capital. Let's start it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then what was that like? How did you guys split the roles?
I remember really clearly, like,
Yeah.
he was in college and I was like junior or senior year in high school. And he was like, "Yo, I got 3,000 to put down," and I'm like, "Bro, that's a lot."
Yeah.
Bro, that's a lot. Like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Like,
Yeah.
he was like, "Yeah, man, take my $3,000,
Yeah.
and then go buy some gold."
Yeah.
And I was like, I started doing surfing forums to like search for the best vendors,
Yeah.
best reviews, and like
Yeah.
most trustworthy ones to buy from, right?
Yeah. And that was like through PayPal. Like you give them.
I think it was Player Auction. The website was called.
Jesus Christ.
And
Okay.
then from Player Auction, usually each seller will also bring you to different like chatting apps.
Yeah. So, all right. So you were able to convert into in-game currency. Is it just called gold? RuneScape
Yeah.
gold? Okay.
It's also, for the record, very, very against the rules to real world trade on RuneScape.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How would they enforce that? How someone would rat you out? Or?
Someone would report you, or their bot detection. It's just like you suddenly, like fresh account, you suddenly get an influx of big gold for nothing traded back. So there were a lot of times where there was people using PvP combat to kill each other, and your gold drops and you can pick it up, or there's different methods of transferring the gold without getting banned.
Right. Did you have to do that a couple of times? I'm assuming 3,000 is a lot of gold.
$3,000 back then, I would assume it was like 1 bill.
1 billion.
Yeah, I think max cash was like 2.1 something.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys had different roles in the clan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like what was that? How did you guys settle on those roles?
Honestly, it just happened. I think Chris has always been good with like setting up systems and thinking about the process of like anything. Honestly, he spends a lot of time thinking. I spend a lot of time doing. That's why I think we complement each other a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're an operator. You execute.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But I don't think a lot. I'm very risk
averse.
Not averse, right? Is that like I'm super high risk?
Oh, so you have risk tolerance.
Yeah, I'm super risk tolerant.
Got you.
He's super risk adverse.
Really?
He actually pulls me back a lot.
Interesting. Okay, because to me, Chris is a god when it comes to risk. I'm super risk adverse.
Okay.
Right?
So then I'm like,
you're
really
going to Mexico.
bad. I'm really bad. Yeah.
Every Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay, so. I remember you didn't you buy the name?
I did.
Yeah. So why was that decision made? I'm hella risk averse, bro.
You put everything in either.
What are you talking about?
That's true.
You put everything.
I put it in to things I think are like sure things. Like I need to know for sure. You know what I'm saying?
Does more research. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry to
I do. No.
He's risk adverse.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's like here. I'm like,
You're YOLO.
We're like opposites.
yeah, super opposite.
That's so interesting. Yeah, no, but it is true. I can see that. Yeah.
It's So I made sure the bankroll, made sure the percentages are right.
He was the one who taught me about bankroll management. I didn't know what it was called.
He tries to teach me, but I have no management. But honestly, there are a lot of times where this trait plays in a good favor as well, because I tend to be able to trust people based on how we vibe. And so, if the vibe is good, I might pay you first without any insurance.
And, you go on the arm.
So either way, I either make a new friend or connection, or I get screwed really badly. There's no in between.
Right.
Yeah, Chris kind of helps me like ground me and put me in the middle.
Gotcha.
A little more. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Why was it important for you guys to have a cool name?
It was really important to have a cool name. It's actually similar to how nowadays on Instagram, if you have a certain
handle,
it's very important, right? Yeah. Like if you have any specific topic as your handle, you get more SEO, and you have some like reputation that comes with it.
Yeah.
And it's basically like you're an OG or something like that.
I remember Chris told me like, yeah, man, I got Calvin to buy this cool name, Dust.
Yeah.
It sounds so cool. I was like, yeah, it sounds really dope, bro.
It's like Moon or Dust, basically.
Yeah. What was that like? You had to find the clan and then negotiate?
No, I had to find the username. So basically, the same thing happens in like now in the present.
Yeah.
Where people sell Instagram names or TikTok names or Twitter handles.
Yeah.
And it was the same back then, where you were looking for RuneScape handles.
Yeah. When you were doing this project, you're going to high school, right? Did your friends know what you were doing? Did you tell them? Could they believe it?
I think in high school I was pretty honed in on this project, so not a lot of people know. But there were like a few friends that I played RuneScape with that did know about it and also bet with us in the beginning. And it was a fun time.
Yeah. What were some other fond memories of that whole experience?
Well, we're in high school, and actually living in Taiwan, the living expense is not as much.
Right.
And being in high school, like $1,000, $2,000 in USD is a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
And so a few of my friends who were betting with me, if they lose, we would go out and party with the money, right?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, hey, like if you take X amount of shots, I'll give you back X amount of money in RuneScape. That was part of the experience for sure.
How did your relationship with, I guess, entrepreneurship or money change with the experience, or do you think it just make you kind of just hone in your skills? Right now we're sitting in a really cool project, another project, in LA, and I didn't even know that the name came from RuneScape. I didn't know that it was so influential, I guess. But how did that whole experience, you were so young, dude. What did you learn from that?
Honestly, at the time when I was playing and doing this, I didn't think I was learning anything. It was just like, we're doing our thing and that's it. But now that I'm getting older and I'm thinking back, back then, I'm sure even on Twitter, a lot of people still cross reference back to MapleStory or RuneScape. And so I think MMORPG was a good virtual world to kind of learn a lot of things.
It's like a sandbox
on steroids. So much knowledge and so much things happen, and you run into scammers in games. Something that you probably wouldn't even run into later in life.
Yeah, absolutely. The scammers. Chris was, he would always tell me dude, you have no idea how many scams there are in RuneScape. He was like, at the end you guys were making like that final month, $3K per person. Yeah. Right? How long it takes for a legitimate business to start making $3K net? And how long was that whole thing? 6 months you built it?
Yeah,
6 months to profitability of $3K a person.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money, And I agree. It's on steroids. It was like accelerated, right?
Accelerated.
Can you like tell me a little bit about this current iteration of, you know, the financial engine, the trading, building community? You know, right now it's really cool. Like people are in here like hanging out. Yeah. Like how did this come about? What were you guys always into cards?
So I started collecting cards, or I wouldn't call myself a collector. I think because it's my full time, I've always prioritized in selling and just doing research, mainly market research on cards.
Yeah, for sure.
But I started during the pandemic because Pokemon cards were going off.
Yeah.
And my job at Amazon started at 7 and I ended at 2.
Word.
So from 2 p.m. to basically when I sleep, I had nothing to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel like I need to fill up this time.
Yeah.
I feel like it's wasted. I need to do something.
Yeah.
Because I'm the type of person who freaks out when I don't have anything to do.
Got you.
Yeah.
You just gotta be
Just
busy.
gotta keep going,
Yeah, grind it.
Yeah.
Weren't you also doing like GPUs and stuff?
I did do some GPU wholesale.
Yeah.
I think that was also my first experience of actually making some money.
Yeah.
Growing up, because you know, before then I was doing like job to job. I went to Ding Tai Fung. I worked at Amazon, and then you know, I did real estate for a little bit. Yeah. But wholesaling GPU during the pandemic was crazy because there was a shortage of microchips.
Yeah.
And people were mining for crypto. And growing up in Taiwan, I knew people.
You got the plug.
Yeah, I knew people who sells GPUs, and kind of leveraged that and reached out. And
Yeah, you know your strengths. You
Yeah.
know the market.
I think that's my first experience with like wholesaling and everything. Overall, I feel like I could have been better with margins and numbers, but since it was my first time doing it, I didn't really like do it as well as I hope.
Yeah. No, it was cool. I was following along on Instagram. I was like, damn, yo, Calvin's crushing right now. You know, it's cool. Like you had a good at least digital presence. I could tell like, oh shit, this is cool. Like you go to him. I was thinking about it too, trying to get a GPU. I was building a computer at the time, right? What do you want to happen, you know, in the next 5 years? I feel like, you know, when I think in my mind of a aspirational spirit, goal person, like sometimes I'll think of Calvin. I'm like, dude, I'm not doing enough. I'm fucking not doing enough. You know what I'm saying? No, deadass. But what do you guys want to be in 5 years with real world trading? And
I think in my vision, like, well, originally Chris and I had a dilemma because a mall reached out to us to open a branch. But we actually turned that down to focus on this specific shop and make sure that it's growing properly and scaling.
Smart.
In my ideal like 5-year plan, like I hope RWT has a way bigger community. We're throwing bigger events and we have a better spot that will solidify our brand.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I don't know much about trading cards, but I do know a little bit that it's all about the community. You know, supporting really like people coming together, because that's at the end of the day, it's you don't want to just stay at home and look at the things, right? You want to come out and meet people.
I think you and Chris are really big on like human beings being like tribal, like type
absolutely
stuff, you know?
Absolutely.
And so I think that crosses into businesses as well as TCG, like or anything, honestly. Like you want to be able to have quality people in your group or quality people in your life. I think that's the same for TCG. And a lot of players who collect cards or at home, you know, they want to meet people, have a chance to talk to people. The older we get, the less opportunities we get to meet people too.
Totally.
So I think RWT or any LGS or TCG shop acts as that home base, and so we hope to grow that home base for a lot of people.
Yeah, no, dude, your guys, I guess the origin story, man, of the Flower Clan stuff is still unbelievable. To like when I've told hundreds of people that story.
Yeah.
You know, when I travel, I'm like, you want to hear a crazy story?
You know? Actually breaking down the old school RuneScape Grand Exchange update and how location mattered and how we picked our spot in the Grand Exchange.
Yeah.
Actually just clicked in my mind about how we picked this location, we broke down what shops were around us, traffic and everything.
Absolutely.
So we did that, but at the time we didn't realize we were doing that.
And you know, when people come to this shop now, they understand like they're not gonna get scammed. Like you guys are gonna give them the fair prices. You know, you guys work with different vendors here.
Yeah.
And that there's a trust in that component.
All our team members are actually originally players or customers too.
Yeah.
So Jesus actually started playing Pokemon with his younger brother when we first opened.
Deadass.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. See, there's something there that it's hard to capture quantitatively, like with an Excel sheet, right? It's like, oh, we got this spread, we got these numbers, but it's priceless when you have trustful people. You build a good team. That's something that I actually learned from that story, which is it's all about your crew. It's about your crew, right? Like you wanna do anything, you can't do it alone. You know. But dude, thanks for talking with me, bro.
All right. Thank you for interviewing me.
Dude, no, this was fucking 10 years in the making. I actually started this project because of that.
Oh, really?
Because I just was like, this is the weirdest fucking story ever. But apparently, like, a lot of people know about it, I guess, like the flower poker
Flower
stuff.
poker was really big. There was also a sand casino. But it's like dual arena. It was originally made for dueling. But then people started staking money against each other. So that was really bad too.
Yeah. I think another lesson is just like people just want to gamble. Like you cannot legislate that out. You know, you can't just change the code and like, oh, no one's gonna fucking wage. You know, people gamble like during the pandemic, like with all the crypto stuff. You still see it with new games.
I think people just look for excitement, you know, like, I mean, obviously there's a dopamine aspect of it, but it's also like, not a lot of people take a lot of risk on a daily basis. Micro gambling could like suffice that. So,
Interesting. Okay. Oh, I gotta think about that now.
Yeah,
because I guess our day-to-day lives are so steady and stable. It's so predictable. Right? I wake up, I do this, I eat, do this, come home, do this, go to sleep. But then gambling is like, anything can happen, bro. Like, I get Lambo, I'm homeless. You know? Like, who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah. All right, man. Well, fucking, I took a lot of your time, so.
Thank you very much.
Dude, yeah.